There are moments when someone is simply existing in their day, maybe washing dishes or sitting in a quiet room, when suddenly a painful memory erupts into their consciousness with the force of something that never truly healed. It arrives uninvited, vivid, carrying sensations and emotions that feel as raw as the moment they first occurred. The body reacts before the mind understands. The chest tightens, the breath becomes shallow, and a familiar question echoes. Why does my brain keep doing this to me? Why can't I just let this go? What feels like a personal failure is actually the nervous system executing an ancient survival protocol, one designed to protect, but now trapping the person in an endless loop of emotional pain that should have ended years ago. The brain does not replay painful memories to torture someone. It replays them because it believes it is protecting them from future harm. The mind is fundamentally a survival machine, and when something threatens survival, the brain marks it as important. That marking system, while once useful, now works against the person. When a moment is emotionally overwhelming, the brain does not file it away cleanly. Instead, it fragments the experience into sensations, beliefs, physical reactions, and emotional charges that remain scattered and unresolved. The nervous system holds onto these fragments because it has not received the signal that the threat has truly passed. The memory stays active, looping endlessly, waiting for something the person does not even know how to give. This is the fundamental misunderstanding most people have about their own minds. They believe that time heals all wounds, that simply living forward will eventually erase old pain. But the brain does not work that way. Time alone does not heal emotional wounds. Completion heals them. When a painful moment occurs, but the emotional wave connected to it is interrupted due to shock, fear, childhood conditioning, or lack of safety, the emotion becomes frozen mid-expression. It does not move through the body. It does not resolve. It simply waits, trapped in the nervous system like an unfinished sentence, a story with no ending, a question with no answer. That trapped emotion has energy, and energy must go somewhere. So it returns again and again, as a replay, as a loop, as an intrusive memory that hijacks the present moment. The reason the memory feels so vivid, so alive, is because the nervous system is still responding as if the threat is current. The amygdala, the brain's alarm system, has not received the all-clear signal. The hippocampus, which normally files experiences into the past, struggles to categorize the memory as finished because the emotional charge attached to it remains active. The body still reacts to the memory as if it is happening now. The heart races, the breath shortens, the muscles tense. This is not imagination or weakness. This is the nervous system doing exactly what it was designed to do: keep the person alive by remembering threats. The problem is that the threat is no longer real, but the body does not know that yet. Many people notice that painful memories return most intensely during times of stress, vulnerability, or transition. This happens because the nervous system becomes more alert during these periods. The brain starts scanning the environment and the internal landscape for patterns that might predict danger. It pulls old memories into consciousness not because the events themselves are important in the present, but because the feeling inside the old memory resembles the emotional state of now. The brain is not comparing facts or circumstances. It is comparing sensations, emotional signatures, states of being. When the present moment triggers a similar feeling to an old wound, the brain assumes the danger is repeating itself. It brings up the old memory as a warning. Be careful, protect yourself, do not trust too much, do not feel too deeply. The mind believes it is helping, even though the result is that the person becomes trapped in their own history. This is why someone might suddenly recall a childhood humiliation after making a small mistake at work, even though the two situations are completely different. This is why an old breakup can resurface during a new conflict, even though the relationship is different. This is why a moment of abandonment can return when someone simply feels misunderstood. The present moment has triggered the same physical sensations the body experienced back then, and the brain has concluded that the danger is repeating. The memory becomes a warning system, a protective mechanism that the person never asked for but cannot seem to turn off. To break this cycle, the person must understand that the brain is not the enemy. The brain is trying to help, but it is using outdated information. The nervous system learned a lesson years ago, and has been trying to protect the person ever since. The solution is not to fight the brain or to force the memory away. The solution is to teach the nervous system that the moment is over, that safety exists now, and that the emotional wave can finally complete itself. This is where the release framework becomes transformative. It provides structure to something that feels chaotic and gives the person an active role in their own healing rather than leaving them as a passive victim of their own mind. The first step of release is to recognize the replay. When the painful memory appears, the person can pause and say inwardly, "This is a memory, not a current threat." This simple acknowledgement begins the process of separating the past from the present. It signals to the nervous system that the person is aware something old is appearing. This awareness alone reduces the intensity of the amygdala's response. The memory becomes something the person is observing rather than something they are drowning in. Awareness creates distance, and distance creates the possibility of choice. The second step is to embrace the emotion underneath the memory. Many painful moments keep returning because the body never felt safe enough to feel what needed to be felt. The emotional wave was interrupted by shock, by fear, by the need to survive the moment rather than process it. When the memory appears now, the person can allow themselves to finally feel the sadness, the fear, the anger, the disappointment, or the shame that was suppressed. They can say silently, "It is safe to feel this now." By doing so, they release what was trapped. The body's response, shaking, tears, warmth, or deep stillness, are signs of emotional completion. The nervous system is finally finishing what it started years ago. The third step is to locate the origin of the belief attached to the memory. Painful memories rarely stand alone. They carry beliefs formed during vulnerable moments. The person can ask themselves, when did this feeling first begin? Often the memory that replays in the present is not the true root, but a later echo of something deeper. The real wound may be buried in childhood, when the person had no voice, no agency, no safety to protest or defend themselves. Understanding the origin helps the mind connect the dots. It softens the emotional weight. The person begins to see the memory not as a current threat, but as a younger version of themselves reaching out, asking to be heard and held. The fourth step is to exchange the old narrative for a new one. Painful memories carry beliefs that were formed in pain, and beliefs formed in pain are rarely true. These beliefs often sound like, "I was not enough," "I was the problem," "I am unworthy," "I am hard to love," or "I should have known better." These were conclusions drawn from moments of vulnerability and fear, not reflections of reality. The person can replace them with truths that align with their present understanding and compassion. "I was hurting, not failing. I deserved care and did not receive it. I reacted the only way I knew how. I am worthy of love and kindness. I did the best I could with what I had." This exchange rewires the emotional meaning of the memory at the neural level. After this comes the crucial step of anchoring safety in the present moment. The brain cannot update its perception of threat until the body feels safe. The person can place a hand over their chest or stomach, breathe deeply and slowly, and tell the body, "I am safe now. That was then. This is now." Physical grounding is essential because the nervous system responds to sensation more powerfully than to words alone. When the body feels safe, the threat system turns off. The memory loses its urgency. Without this anchoring, the brain keeps replaying because it senses unresolved danger. With anchoring, it begins to release the memory's grip. The final step is symbolic closure. Humans process emotions through symbolism more effectively than through logic alone. Visualizing the memory fading like smoke, imagining the younger self being held and finally exhaling, or mentally placing the scene into a box and closing the lid helps the subconscious integrate the experience. The memory does not disappear, but its emotional charge dissolves. The brain finally files it as completed rather than active. The person can say, "This happened. I survived. I am free." Over time, as the release method is repeated, the person notices something remarkable happening. The memory returns less frequently and with significantly less intensity. The emotional bite fades. The physical tension lessens. Instead of being dragged backward into the past, the person finds themselves staying rooted in the present. The memory becomes a distant echo rather than an intrusive force that hijacks their day. Healing is not forgetting. Healing is remembering without suffering. It is recalling without collapsing. It is looking at the past with compassion rather than with fear. The more the person works with their memories instead of fighting them, the more they develop an inner sense of strength and agency. They begin to see that the mind's replays were never punishment, they were invitations. Invitations to feel, to heal, to integrate, to grow. The brain was not trying to harm them, it was asking for help. Once the person responds to that call with awareness and compassion, they reclaim their power. They stop fearing their own mind. They stop expecting the past to repeat. They finally begin to live forward instead of backward, to build a future instead of being haunted by yesterday. If this message brought clarity or comfort to your heart, subscribe to Deep Mind Patterns. Like this video, share it with someone who feels trapped in emotional replay, and let me know in the comments what memory your mind returns to the most. Your story could be the mirror someone else needs to finally start their healing.